At 6:30, we call Sawyer County Public Works meeting to order. Ask the clerk to call a roll, please.
Ron Kinsley.
Here.
Ed Peters.
Here.
Chris Ross. Mark Helbig. Brian Bittner. You have a quorum?
Let the record indicate we have a quorum. Please rise for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the
United States of America. And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. For certification compliance with open meeting laws.
This meeting has been noticed to the public and news media as required by section 19.84 of the Wisconsin statutes.
Thank you. Number 5, meeting agenda. The agenda is set. Number 6, public comment. Ms. Zilmer.
Linda Zilmer, 902 Hollytown Lane, Berkeley, Wisconsin, Edgewater property owner at County Highway F. And I am speaking to your agenda item on the renewal of the ATV UTV routes and consideration for possible action on the ATV UTV draft ordinance. That detailed information was not posted to the county's website for folks who are interested to be able to check until after 3 o'clock this afternoon. I have made a public records request under the provisions of the current policy for ATV road routes to have the county provide the file that shows when the towns approved the county of opening those routes, as well as the letter of understanding between the county and the alliance. And mostly I'm concerned because over time and having served on the planning commission board going way back, and with the promises that were made when requests were to open town roads and county roads, that it was only to connect routes, and then it expanded to serving businesses, and now more and more county highways are requested to be open just to provide ease of access so people don't have to trailer. And that also complains that the alliance can't pay for signs. Things have really made a major shift, and I think open documents are important to provide history and going forward, and to even determine whether these renewal of routes were even done properly to begin with. And also with the changes in the draft ordinance, I would ask that you put that out for broader public input, and I think it's changed a lot since the towns have seen it. One thing that I saw that I appreciated was the limited hours of operations between 6 a.m. and 11 p.m. I know that was concerning a number of other towns that they wanted to have limited hours, as well as is in some of the town ordinances. So for ease of everyone, I think that those hours should be across all the county, not just where they are listed right now. The current or the draft ordinance you have does not address speed limits. I've sent this committee multiple times, an example from Washburn County that sets a limit unless otherwise posted. So I think that's a consideration that should be in there. And just like the other counties around us, any route approvals go to full county board. When this becomes an ordinance, adding routes is an ordinance amendment, and then you're also getting the vote of the people who are representing other districts than those people that serve on this committee. So there's a number of factors that I think, rather than having kind of a small meeting at night, getting these details, I think there's a lot of interest in providing more public input on it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Marotek.
Don Rotek, representing the Sawyer County Snowmobile ATV Alliance. And last night, or yesterday afternoon, the Sawyer County Snowmobile Alliance, ATV Alliance, met with county public works and LCO representatives. We were told that the tribe had requested that 7 county highways that are on registration not be reapproved as ATV UTV routes. As the tribal governing board had not been involved in their initial approval by the towns and the county. Information that we heard was that the LTO had contacted the BIA, Bureau of Indian Affairs, back in 2017 for clarification on these roads, on whether they were on the reservation, if they're currently and they're currently maintained by the towns and county. The roads should be tribal roads. The BIA has not responded yet, and the LCO has made another request to the BIA on this matter, is what we were informed last night. So on the roads, I'm just gonna talk about a couple of them. One of them that we were informed on was Highway K, from Highway E to Highway KK. The line, and that was that whole section of K. Part of that section of Highway K is not on the reservation. So we would like to request that the portion that's not on the reservation, from Highway KK to Northwoods Beach, Indian Drive, be allowed. That the status of that be changed, that be approved on a list of roads. And some history here, when the Alliance made a request to open up Highway E from Highway K south to the Reserve Road, it was for two reasons. One of the reasons was an alternate route to get around a very challenging section of Trail 777 between Indian Lake Road and Girl Lake Road. This was a safety concern, as riders were getting stuck and stranded in that section of the trail. So we wanted to find an alternate way that they could get around and use Highway E to connect up. At that time, one of the tribal board members asked us if we could expand that on Highway E to connect all the way down to Reserve. The reason for that is they wanted to open that Highway E up for the tribal members that wanted to connect up to the casino, to the LCO gas station and grocery store that lived along Highway E and down that section. We hope that the tribal board understands that if the county does not approve these roads as UTV routes, no one can legally drive ATVs and UTVs on them, including tribal members, until this gets approved by the VA or LCO and back to the county there. So tribal ATV, UTV riders should voice their concerns with the tribal governing board. And also, if these roads are not approved, it will have a negative economic impact on numerous businesses, both tribal and non-tribal businesses.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. LaRue, Kathy?
Kathy LaRue, Sawyer County Snowmobile and ATV Alliance. Just real briefly, I printed off the ATV ordinance and perhaps printed off the wrong one, but I printed it off today. At the end of the day, and there are some mistakes with the dates that we previously agreed on. Just want to bring that to your attention. You have January and July for the two dates for submitting applications for new routes. And we previously agreed on April and September, and I believe those April and September dates were in previous copies. So I just want to make sure, and then we also agreed to re-up the routes or renew the routes on a yearly basis in April. And I believe that's a mistake in the copy that I have as well. And just real briefly about the routes on the reservation, I'm looking forward, I think our whole committee is looking forward to working with the tribal governing board and Brian to come to a resolution. We feel those routes are an integral part of our entire trail system. So hopefully we can come to an agreement and make it work. And that's all I want to say.
Thank you. Does anybody speak to the committee? Thank you. Number 7, Public Works minutes from the last meeting of February 8th.
Make a motion to approve. Second.
Motion by Mr. Helwig, second by Mr. Peters to approve. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 8, maintenance report. Mr. Hagberg submitted a report. Does anybody have any questions regarding his report? They have their hands full trying to keep up with everything, but I think they do a nice job of keeping up. I appreciate what they do. Number 9, Sawyer County Airport. Mr. Derek Leslie. Also submitted a report. You want to care to comment there?
Good evening, folks. Any questions, learning thoughts about the report, the report? Can summarize, winter's still ongoing. I'm sure Brian's gonna talk about it too. Thompson's really stepped up to the plate. He's really been doing a good job. To answer a question, not from last month's meeting, the month meeting before, I did misspeak and Tim kind of caught me on it. Thompsons are washing their trucks off before they're bringing them out.
Okay.
You know, you can only do as good of a job as you can, all things considered, but they're not bringing out sloppy messes either. Just a couple nights ago, they had the grader up in Minong, and that's been like a runway with. We actually just hosed it off at the airport so they can get out there quicker, just so things didn't freeze that evening because it was pretty wet. So Thompson's has been doing good. We've been a little busier this year at the airport, year to date. I'm pulling some numbers here, even just this afternoon. And I think we've had some more PA traffic in and out. A couple factors for that. I think the big one is just the fact that gas is $2 a gallon less than it was at this time last year, for recreational flyers. Andy and I met yesterday. Our master plan is finally here and coming, and I'd like to try to just pick your guys' brains on it. I think that it will be important in that master plan process if somebody from Public Works Committee was involved. It's not a voting committee. I can read verbatim from the email, but I think I just bolded it in bold type on my report. Essentially, this master plan is coming up with a vision for the airport for the next 20 years. And it's something that pretty much every airport does. It's part of the requirements when you're taking federal funding, kind of, and the state pushed for it as well. So the last time we did a master plan was 1996. And talking with Andy, we've got a list of names already kind of assembled of people that I think would be good for the situation. I don't want to say old guard, new guard, but we've established some of the guys at the airport. One of the new hangar owners out there, Ben Lamar, is a good name that comes up because he is a hangar owner, so he's a stakeholder at the airport, as well as the fact he's probably one of the most avid flyers at the airport in the last year. Another one would be like Cliff Korn. Cliff's been coming to the meetings for forever. He's our AOPA rep for the field as well. So I haven't talked to Chris yet from the chamber, but he's somebody I should probably call. And I just want to know if there's a member of the committee who would be willing to sit in with us in those meetings to kind of help steer, because the documents get kind of coming to committee. It's going to come here and it's going to be public meetings, for it to get adopted and whatnot. But
How many people on the committee?
Andy and I haven't met together with Mike, the fellow from the master plan consultant. They said try to keep it under 15. Well, that 15 is a big number. But at any given time, you schedule a meeting and 2 people might not show up either.
Have you sat down and put together a list of people you were wishing to have on the committee? Okay, how many people you have on there? Just the number.
Well, it's about 10 right now. I kind of thought about it, trying to involve a couple of the neighbors at the airport. I thought that'd be a good idea because we have had issues and expansion at the airport is going to cause issues. But speaking with the consultant, it sounds like that'd probably just be a better step for those folks, to come to the public forum meetings to discuss those things, because anyone's going to be able to come to the planning meetings as well. And I think at that point in time, it'd just be better if we just let them know the meetings are happening and invite them to come,
Okay.
not potentially to sit on a panel for discussion before the meetings. Mark says he definitely wants to do it.
Is there a volunteer from this committee that would like to be on that?
He just lied.
He was trying to twist your arm.
Here, I thought he made a motion already.
Imagine if I lived in Sawyer County and I ran something to the board, I'm still at the airport, that'd be a really complex.
I suppose I could do it.
How far do you live from the airport?
I live like a block. away.
Yeah. He lives a really long ways away from the airport. Yeah, that's why I said, Mark, you've been on airport committee for so long too, 10 years at least. I would love to have you there. Andy, am I speaking, are you gonna kick me when you see me in the hallway?
You're ready for me to tell you quiet? He sounds enthusiastic. How come you don't sound as enthusiastic?
He spent so much time talking about the airport over the years, I don't know.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Otherwise, everything's going good at the airport, getting ready for road ban season. We need to get our tanker loads of fuel in before those go into effect. I don't know who's down at the town, and Robert, I was down chatting to the ladies up down in the office, last week. Trying to be nice to them, because I figure if I'm nice to Brennan, this Metcalf down there, they'll be nice to be back and maybe say nice things to the new people coming in. That short section of road really is a detriment, you know, and that was nothing that we ever had a problem with before until all of a sudden, one day we had a problem with it. That was a big problem, a 90,000 pound truck going across a 6-ton road. That brought some attention to things, so even still though, last year, I think that they did let us bring fuel because we ran out. We topped off our capacity the day before road bans went into effect. They let us bring fuel in 2 days before the road bans were lifted. And that wasn't you, that was the other guy who was in charge of the towns. I called him up, explained him the situation,
Communication goes a long way.
you know, so I'm anxious to hear what we have to say about that. Are you gonna give a report on road bans?
Yeah, well,
We'll get to that.
I'm sorry, I just,
Letter B, updating petition for airport improvement project. You got anything else to add to that?
We don't have the petition back from the state yet.
Okay. All right, other questions for Derek?
he talks less than I do.
Anything else you want to add?
Thank you.
Thank you for your valuable time. Appreciate what you do out the airport. Number 10, Highway Commissioners Report, Mr. Bicey.
Yes, and they're talking about that. The road bans are gonna go in on effect March 17th at noon. We just found this out, I'm gonna put a flyer tomorrow. But we'll work together with you on this.
17.
So, that said, I did revise and update my report with some, because,
It will.
so myself, Ron Kensley, Ed Peters, we conducted our selection of design service for the deck replacement of double C. We selected Corners consultant. That construction will be done in 2024. And also myself, Ron, and Mark Helwig conducted our selection of design services on March 3rd for the County View project, that'd be 2nd Street, the Chippewa Trail. That's gonna be paving, milling in the gutters, that'll all be for later. That said, we have Travis Ranky did fall on the ice, and on his shoulder, we'll put no parking signs for the Berkey. At present, he's still not went to the doctor, but he still says his shoulders hurt and he's gonna be going. So, we continue to fight the storms that plague us all winter. Our salt inventories remain stable. We continue to conserve salt when possible without jeopardizing safety of the public. So we're still using salt. We've used a reserve. We got that. But we still got salt, so we're not out. We also continue to work on potholes. Everybody knows all the roads are wet to heck. So we're continually trying to work on potholes, mix salt sand for the towns and ourselves. And also the storm trees, which we had in December, we're still working on them. That said, on the storm trees, we can only do so much because the snow is so deep. So we've opened our roads for, I always look at a semi to get through the height and the width. And spring we attack all these small storm trees. And to close, I did put an estimate for our spring damage and our storm damage for $279,000. And I believe my estimate's close at that. And I am working in Madison, working with Madison right now to get that taken care of, because we had some problems on that. I think I got it straightened out today, Andy, on that. So it'll be in the core working on it. So. And so that's all I have to say.
Any questions for Mr. Bison?
No, we'll find you out.
Thank you, Mr. Bison. Letter B, ATV route renewal discussion and possible action. Yes, some of us met yesterday afternoon. A group asked if they would meet with me and Mr. Alvarado, and we talked about different things. But prior to that, I also asked some tribal members to meet with us here, and they were very accommodating. Did we went over some things, kind of came up with 2 different plans. I'm hoping we are allowed to see if the first plan works first. And then if that doesn't, we'll go to the second plan. I'm hoping that it works out that way. But in the month of February, we normally renew these routes, which will be coming in April. So I put it on the agenda. And in the meetings that we had yesterday, it was asked that don't open the roads that are on tribal land at this time. So we went down the list to see which ones are on tribal land. Are the routes on
Yeah, I just pulled up on the screen, so the routes, there's a list in the of all the routes that are currently approved. And then one of the amended ordinances, I have them highlighted, so there's 7 routes that are on tribal land, or County Road CDC, County Highway and the County Road, County Road E, County Highway K to Williams Road, County Road E, County K Reserve Road, County Road H, Blueberry Fairland to Blueberry Avenue, County Road K, County Road E, County KK, County Road N, County Road N to County CC, and County Road NN, County Road N to Colonel Road. So those are the 7 that have been identified as being on the reservation. One of the public comments I'd have to look at where one of those part of one of those sections may not be on the reservation currently.
Mr. Bissonnette, are you aware that what Mr. Rotek said at County Road K, is that on the reservation? Do you know, or
The section that he's talking about. Off reservation from reservation line, County Road K, double K. That's the section you're talking about, right?
Correct.
Yeah, that's off
is
reservation.
off reservation? So we could take that off the list, then it would be 6.
Is it the whole segment or part of the
No,
segment?
just part of it. You
Oh.
still have 7, but it would be just a segment of
Okay.
A that would be closed.
Just a minute.
You're thinking?
Let's let Mr.
No, I was just going to offer, as far as the renewals, aside from the reservation, the routes and reservation. I didn't, in the policy, I didn't see the any criteria for renewal. I did ask Mr. Bizey about any issues he was aware of on the existing routes, if they had problems with safety issues. He wasn't aware of anything. I talked to the sheriff's department as well. There's not been any concentrated crashes. There's been no deaths. There's been some ATV accidents, but nothing that's indicating that there's one spot that there's a problem. I did ask them to run any reports they could. I don't know if these are all helpful. They're in reports of all the ATV complaints last year. So there were 46 of those. And then ATV stops, there were 77 ATV stops, but looking through the list, there's not, half of the complaints are in the city of Hayward, and then there's no concentrated areas of the county where the stops are occurring. Just as background information.
So complaints in the city of Hayward is not really involved in these list of trails that we have.
No, I'm just saying that the complaints, half of those are in the city, just by eyeballing it, but.
Yeah.
It doesn't affect, those aren't on our counter roads at all. So the complaints are actually less than. There's 46, so less than one a week.
Okay.
The city is less than one in 2 weeks.
Mr. Howie, did you?
I'm not really aware, know where all these roads are that are. Affected on the reservation, how. How do they affect our trails?
Big time. It's gonna have a huge
It
effect.
effectively will close down the north south.
Not to ruffle any feathers. Sorry, but
You're not gonna ruffle my feathers, so.
well, I don't agree with this. If the BIA can't give you information whether these are. These roads are gonna be governed by. Excuse me, LCO or the county or whatever. I mean, that's what, 6 years ago? Right, 2000.
I'll speak in a little bit more, so Don cited the first letter that went to the BIA in 2017 requesting this patent information. Second letter was sent out by then Secretary Treasurer Michelle Levine in 2020. And no response. And so what we did this last time, approximately 2.5 weeks ago, we sent a third letter, which was pretty forceful, to the BIA, but this time we addressed it to the higher ups in the chain. So the hierarchy, just so you understand how it works, typically a lot of the BIA interactions with the field office of Nashville. If you don't get satisfaction there, typically we have to go to Minneapolis to the regional office. From there, we go to Washington DC to the Department of Interior Assistant Secretary's office. So we went up the ladder this time. So, which I wish I could report was successful, but we still haven't got any response from them. So we're going to stay on it though.
Oh, and I have one other issue with the ordinance.
No, let's not go to the ordinance yet, please.
Oh, no, we're,
This is the renewal.
oh, okay.
Andy,
I was just in addition to what Mr. Bissonette said about talking to the BIA, we've also received a request from LCO to locate easements from county roads over the reservations. And that request came in last week and started to look, but it's going to take a little bit of effort because a lot of those documents are very old. They predate the portion of the deed. Our registered deeds documents are indexed back to 1930. But a lot of these documents are pre-1930, so they're a little harder to locate if they exist at all.
Mr. Peters, did you have a comment or?
Well, maybe I'm lost as to what we're talking about here, but I don't see any, I didn't come across anything that said being closed, and maybe that's not part of the information. But that it is, as we get down here, these routes are not closed. It indicates, according to what I see here, indicates routes on the Lakota Array and subject to 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. operating hours.
Right.
That's we're considering to be a closure.
Yeah, just to clarify, there's two things on the agenda. One is the renewal of the existing routes.
Yes.
So that's just, all that's in the packet is the list of the routes as we have them now.
Okay,
And then when we get into talking about the new ordinance, that's where we have some language in there to
okay,
make changes down the road.
thank you.
So just to clarify, if I can, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah,
Just to clarify, so if we're gonna approve this list, the ones highlighted, which are reservation roads, are not included in the list at the
That should be in the motion.
Okay,
That's what I'm looking for. Also, at the same time, us as a committee are not here attacking Brian. We're
Oh,
looking for
no.
information from Brian because Brian is very much part of this committee also. And so I don't want Brian to feel like he's being attacked. Okay? Mr. Bicey.
I'll sleep well tonight.
Well, I'm not attacking anybody, but I'm just saying, I don't understand, it's county road. And we're gonna shut down the county, the LCO is gonna shut down the county road. How do they have that right to shut down a county road?
Well,
There's,
Am I missing? That's what
Well,
something
I
here.
think, and let me, and I'm not an attorney,
Yeah.
so, but what I will say is, people, for whatever reason, do not fully understand that these are lands held in federal trust. It's, so, a lot of times we get, well, state statute says, I don't care what your state statute says, it doesn't apply. You're talking federal lands here, so there's a distinction, and I wanna make that. And so, you know, really what the county is looking for, because as I've stated in the past many times, a lot of these roads under renovation, the towns or the county, and I'm not asserting that the county, this is the case with county road, but a lot of these roads put on the reservation, there's no recorded deed that indicates any kind of use for that road to be put in to begin with. And so, but the towns have the roads in the inventory. Well, it doesn't matter whether it's in the inventory unless you can prove that you own that road, the tribe is going to assert they own it. And so we're trying to clear that up. That's what we're getting at with the BIA. The second point is, even if the county does have a legal right of way, we want to look at that, the attorneys want to look at that, because what they're saying is that a right of way typically is exclusive to vehicle use. Now, when you're wanting to change the use in the deed, there's an issue there. So there are just a couple of the issues that it's not that the tribe is going to approve something. What that looks like, I don't know. I'm not a decision maker. But realize that there is an economic benefit to everybody in the county to try to put it. So they're just trying to do it in a thoughtful way. They're not going to be rushed to anybody. And so, down your comment, have everybody out that trouble before they're always doing any good. But if people want to make comments, they can direct them to me. They'll feel conservation. Kathy's got my contact information. I can ignore them or. Well, no, but what I would do is I would certainly make sure that, because they're not gonna take 500 calls. You know, I'm just realistic with you. But if you wanna put their comments in writing, go to me at also conservation, be more than happy to see to it that they get before the government board. So does that help a little bit?
Yeah, thank you so much for clarifying that.
No, that's that's the discussion. And I would even just add the discussion, the communication is amicable. I mean, they aren't telling the data, saying this is the way it is. This is the theory, though. That's why they're asking BIA for additional information. That's why they've asked us to locate the easements. Because even if there's easements, like Brian said, you're usually for roads, and also sometimes they're limited, they're not indefinite. And they're probably maybe place something got lost or not. Re-upping the easements and updating them to current uses.
Well, that's a good point. Just to give you an example. Most of our electrical right of ways are expired out there. Off federal land, typically, buildings are granted right of way for perpetuity. Under the code of federal regulations, which we have to go by, the maximum term for any utility is 50 years. And so these utility companies that come out and, well, I mean, like I said, all of our electrical, virtually all of them are expired. And so, I mean, I could talk about it all night long, but the bottom line is that, people just don't care, or they just make the assumption that the state laws are the same as federal, and they're not. And so,
And there's nothing on the use, it used to be, I know there used to be a law, that if you use the road so many years, the easement, if you use an easement so many years, it's their easement, even if we don't. We have title, it's still use easement. You ever heard of that?
Yeah, I'm trying to get with that, like,
Yeah.
and
Like
again,
I said,
that
that'd
was
be
a
like-
state law,
That's a different.
that doesn't apply to
Doesn't
federal.
apply.
Yeah.
doesn't apply.
I understand.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate you clearing.
Mr. Allen.
I have two questions, one for Brian, these 7 roads, who maintains them?
The county does. The county gets money for it.
Okay, and then the second one to you, we're looking at these because this new, current one has not been ratified, or is the looking at the
We were supposed to renew in February.
February, right?
I erred and didn't get it on the agenda, so I put an agenda now. And if they
We're
get.
talking April, but we're not doing it then because it's not.
April would be the new one.
Ratified.
In the new ordinance, yeah.
April is what is in the new ordinance, which is not really, it's not.
Can I respond a little bit further on it? You know, you shook your head when I said that the county takes care of it. Well, it's a public, the tribe isn't contested, cars can't go down that road. And so I want to differentiate the fact that vehicle use is not even being contested here. It's a recreational use.
Gotcha.
So,
On track.
Yes,
So whatever, if something is approved tonight. And if we, I don't want to get into this situation next year. So because, if the ordinance then is at some point approved. And we do the renewals in April next year, can you make it so whatever is renewed tonight? Is renewed through April next year instead of March?
thank you. So,
Hmm.
got all our questions answered? Okay, so I'm asking the committee. The trails, roads, on the county roads that are on tribal land. Let's not renew them. So it allows us to put together the ordinance, take it to the tribal council. When that goes in front of the tribal council, I would like to go to that meeting. So I can be there to answer questions that they may have or may not have or whatever. So to work with the tribe. That's what I'm asking for, to approve the ones that are not on the tribal line. And hopefully within a month or two, we can have it cleared up, because I know everybody wants to get going by the time of the month of May. Will that happen? I'll do the best I can do to get that done. It's the wishes of the committee.
So the motion would then be to approve all routes that are not on tribal land in Sawyer County,
That are listed on
that are
this.
listed in the.
Yeah,
The way-
I would just word it a little bit different. and
All
say,
current routes.
All current routes, excepting those in the reservation.
Mhm.
Or reservation boundaries.
I'll make the motion to approve all current ATV, UTV routes not on tribal lands,
Within the
within
reservation.
reservation
Yeah.
boundaries.
also,
So we have a motion by Mr. Peters, second by Mr. Bissonnette.
All 30.
Any further discussion? Everybody understands what we're doing? Okay. All in favor of the motion?
Uh,
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
And this list is good to April 2024?
Yes, thank you. I heard Mr. Peters say that in his motion.
Thank you.
No.
Thank you, Ken. Mr. Rote.
So then my big question here now, each 7 routes that are listed, effective tomorrow would not be legal to drive them. Correct?
Yeah.
Until this gets resolved.
And we're hoping that will be in the earlier.
I've got it on my. Yep. And to be forwarded to the county board for approval. Yep.
All right. Now we go to letter C. ATV UTV ordinance.
I'll just finish up on that.
Yeah.
That. So the 2 ordinances we have right now, that I did find were, the one that's dated 12/22 did not include the correct dates, so I've updated that in my copy, but that's the annual renewals of April and then consideration in April or the second Wednesday in September. So that's it, the one ordinance. So that's where we were, that's where we've been sitting since December. After our meeting yesterday and discussions with members of TGB and the tribe, we added in some draft, this is just draft language, this is just for discussion because it got sent out to the tribe for them to review as well. But their suggestion and our discussion, we were including to be considered section 101.03 titled cooperation. And then this ordinance was assembled with the cooperation of other regulating local governments and nations within Sarah County. All townships and the tribe are able to develop, regulate, and enforce their own ATV, UTV trails and routes within their jurisdiction. These bodies have made efforts to cooperate and provide ATV, UTV access within the county, and also respecting the rest of Israel's cooperate within the county. I guess I would just call that some narrative to understand that there are multiple entities involved not in this ordinance, but in this ATV UTV use from the county. And then additional section 1.04 is jurisdiction. The existing government bodies, county townships, and Coudray maintain the ability to regulate ATV UTV activity within their jurisdiction. The county is able to regulate and enforce county regulations on roads throughout their county, and townships are able to enforce and regulate and enforce township regulation roads in their township. Use of ATV UTVs on roadways, town, county, tribal, on tribal land, the Coudray Band of Lake Superior Chippewa Indians. Even though such lands may be located within the town and county, are subject to the laws enforced in the LCO. So that's I mean,
That's a contradictory statement, isn't it?
it's contradictory to what it's, and then I should also say this also needs to be reviewed by a legal counsel as well. But what this is pointing out is the concurrent jurisdiction. That county or town road can be regulated and enforced by the county or town. But if it's within the reservation, it can also be subject to the rules of the LCO.
Did you catch the time that they had asked for a time?
So we added hours of operation were in this ordinance at the very beginning, and we had taken them out here. So this has been added into section 2.03 in the regulation. Hours of operation, ATV UTVs are able to be operated 24 hours a day on county roads, except those identified in section 3.01. Those identified in section 3.01 marked with an asterisk. They only be operated on from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. So section 3.1 is a list of all the routes. In addition to the asterisks, they're highlighted. And at the bottom, it says that these are the routes on the Coudray. Using some words, the Coudray is subject to 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. on the roads. And I should say part of the reason we had that to that point in the discussion is because that's consistent with the tribe's discussions with the town of Bass Lake. And the town of Bass Lake at this time has that in their ordinance as well, the restriction on
Town roads, in a sense.
Town roads in the reservation. Yeah.
I've spoken up about this from the beginning, that I believe county roads need to have a time limit per se. It may not be 11 o'clock, but I just don't believe that there's a need to have it 24/7.
I can tell you that I live fairly close to the Tuscobia Trail. And in the summertime, I believe they're running 24 hours a day. So, I mean, that's open for discussion. If you want to do it on all the county roads or not, but this is how we roll it up to try to get the tribal government to get them to it.
I guess one point I'd like to make here is that we're seeing routes and trails. And that's, how that's going to work out.
This would only be routes. This resolution is. only
Yes,
routes.
it's only routes, but I'm within a mile and a half of the Tuscobia Trail.
Yep.
And
Would you say they run 24 hours a day?
yes,
So technically, what I just said doesn't matter.
Okay, here's something to think about. If these roads, if we want to regulate them, so 6 until 11. And then the existing trails out there, example, the Tuscobia, that doesn't have any limit on hours. How's that gonna come into play? How are people gonna get where they want to
Well,
go?
that's what I say, but I just, that makes no difference because you have to have these, if the trails are gonna be open 24/7, the roads that are available have to be open 24/7. In my personal opinion, the reason I keep saying it, if you're all that late, that means you've been to pretty much one place. I know,
No,
that's,
that is not right. That is.
so I'm not saying here, but 24/7, I just don't agree with this. I have issues right in town here with individuals, so.
We're talking the ones though, that we consider main thoroughfares to get.
Are we doing this up for public discussion?
No. Not at all. But, sure. Not a Republic.
So that's what we have put together for the ordinance to, like Mr. Alvarado said, to have the tribal council look at it and get their opinion from it. Okay,
And I think the committee as well.
Yeah.
It's all for you to consider as well.
And I've read it and what I've read looks good to me, you know, so.
well, yes, I have, but the other point that Mr. Alvarado made is that those particular sections that were added will be evaluated by legal counsel.
Right, yes.
And my only comment under would be on 104 jurisdiction, the way you worded it. I mean, I get the gist of what you're saying there, but I can tell you from a tribal perspective, we're gonna say, well, let me read it. So that last sentence, even though such lands may be located within the town and county or subject to law. I know it's picking it apart, but the fact is this reservation was here long before the county or the town. So if anything's located anywhere, the tribe is located in a town or a county and town are located in. You know what I'm saying?
I just copied that from the town of Aspen.
Okay. Well, that would be the only comment, minor, I get what you're saying.
Yep.
But
Do I understand that last sentence correctly? And I would ask for saying that there's, if it's located within the reservation, rewording it, that they have, LCO has enforcement.
Yep.
So,
well, and within the extreme boundary regardless, we have encouraged reservation.
right, well, that's why I say, right, that's kind of,
Yeah.
you know, we're-
okay.
The bottom line, probably, I think Mr. Listener brought this up last night. The whole idea of concurrent jurisdiction from a legal standpoint is a matter of law. But from a standpoint of ATV rate, very confusing. Pull you over, you could get a different citation and be up in a different court.
Right, now, there's gonna be some people that will get into some arguments. You can back on that.
Well, one thing that I brought up and I shared with, for everybody, my concern with not everybody being on the same page, and I include the 6 townships within the reservation. You have, the county and the tribe. Everybody's creating their own ordinance. These ordinances say different things. Now, I put myself in the shoes of somebody coming up from the city with ATV, and they're not gonna know what jurisdiction they're in. And so if you have, say, no hours of operation, I mean, if it's open 24/7 in one township, then you go 2 miles on the road in the next township that all I see is chaos. I really do.
Are there townships that have a limit? Currently?
Yes, there are, and townships vary drastically. Some have opened up all the rules, some have set limits on. It's all over the board. And if I can comment on the LCO ordinance, very concerned about that because that doesn't even meet the state or state guidelines. And they're told because they don't have to because they're federal, but it doesn't even define it by state definition. So that could be extremely confusing. Brian brings up about the townships being different, but I'm more concerned that LCO ordinance is really vastly different.
How about we just burn the township ordinances and just have a county?
Put up all the roads.
Well, we get
If you're gonna own everything.
Counties crash
in the early 1800s, LCO was its own township. And so but we got gerrymandered into 6 townships. So if we went on to do the gerrymandering, I'm sure the tribe would love to be their own township and would work with everybody. So I don't see that happening.
Well, I don't see it happen to mine, just that. Which is, I think it's.
Ms. Zone, did you have another comment you want to make?
I just appreciate this last conversation about trying to get things more cohesive for everybody. For the users, for law enforcement, for the ordinances. And I thought that maybe coming on it back, Mr. Alvarado asked about ordinances. And so I'm thinking I asked tonight, maybe that's what we done. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else have any more questions about where we're at with the ordinance?
So,
So we're just not gonna take any action.
Right.
Presently. If the committee's okay with it. Okay. All right, we'll move on. Number 11, courthouse remodel update. Andy, you wanna bring
Let's
this?
pull up the report from Myron. Everything is back on the new, it's still on the new schedule. We anticipate to have the building turned over at the end of this month and moving over to the courtroom the first week in April. The major components we have been delayed with it are in place. The power panel and the HVAC unit. Furniture, fixtures came in last week and are being set up over there. So at this point, there's still a couple just change order type things that are going, nothing significant. But everything's looking like they're on course to get turned over. Well, 2 weeks, open up April, we'll start on remodel existing spaces.
will we be using the new
Potentially.
Because the chance to have the boardroom and for the April meeting.
for the April county,
County board meeting.
not committee meetings?
I would probably not.
Other questions, thoughts, concerns? Future agenda items? Mr. Leslie will give us an airport report. And tell us who's on the committee at that time. Mr. Vicey will give us a report, Mr. Hagberg will give us a report, and we'll give you updated report on the remodeling of the courtroom. We'll have the ordinance on again, yes.
Just an update, so Mr. Bryce is doing an excellent job as a commissioner and interim commissioner in operations. But we did do interviews today, so might have an update by next month.
Had a busy day. Wow.
If we get things from the state, we might want to have the petition on.
Petitions is good.
We'll send you an email on that, if the state gets a packet together for us.
Also like to thank the group for the ATV, UTV for being patient, working with us. Telling us your side of the story yesterday, and we'll continue to move forward and do the best we can do. Okay,
Thank you.
that meeting adjourned. Thank you.